Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us tmosso at the1916company.com for all of your purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. Today we are discussing a model, or at least a variant of a model, launched in 2023 from Cartier. This is the Santos Large with green gradient dial. Of course, the current generation of Santos launched in 2018, so this is on that platform with all of its dimensions and technical specifications. I should mention that the Cartier Santos goes all the way back to 1904, when it was simultaneously one of the first ever sports watches, undoubtedly the first ever pilot's watch, and the first Cartier purpose-built wristwatch. So the idea was Alberto Santos Dumont, Brazilian aviator, was a friend of Louis Cartier, and he needed a watch that he could use while operating an airship. He was an aviator, but of dirigibles. So to run an aircraft that was the size of a small ship, you needed both hands. A pocket watch wasn't suitable, but timing was still vital. So having a watch on the wrist meant you could now operate the craft with two hands and look down at your wrist to see the time. So a wristwatch was mandated by the demands of the application. And the Santos lived on, becoming fashionable because of the romantic image and avocation of the titular aviator. The Santos today represents a bit of an all-arounder. I wouldn't specifically call it a pilot's watch, but something just about anyone can own and enjoy. Size is a big reason for that, because although this is the Santos Large, it's not that big. 39.8 millimeters from side to side, not inclusive of the crown, 9.6 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, 47.6 millimeters. Most standards of form watch measurement would describe this as somewhere between a full size and a mid size. So we're going to put this on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters circumference, so you can really get a sense. It's a very compact watch, and you can see it's flat. So while it may have started off as an aviator's timepiece, even armchair aviators wearing formal sleeves and cuffs today will be able to fit this underneath their shirt sleeve or their jacket sleeve. Now over the top, which always exaggerates the width of a watch, you can still see the lugs are nowhere near the edge of my wrist. The definitive angle really is this down the barrel, and you can see how far inboard my 16 centimeter circumference wrist these lugs really are, which is why I can recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. So the bracelet features these skeuomorphic fixing skews, and I call them skeuomorphic because they're purely symbolic. The conventional assembly of the bracelet is what you'll see on any other modern luxury-grade steel bracelet. But it does have some exceptions, and I mean that in the exceptional sense of being virtuous. So we have this quick switch system that allows me to easily dismount the bracelet from the case, and the watch comes with an accessory leather strap, so you can easily and without tools swap between them. This is also the first and to date only company that has designed a bracelet that you can actually size without tools. Now, I don't have a whole lot of fingernail here, but you can see by pushing a little panel in the flank of the lug, and it's almost completely flush. You can't feel it. You almost can't see it. You're able to dismount the links from each other. And then in turn, I would just dismount this one from its neighbor. And now I have quite literally sized my bracelet without a tool, and I can put the whole thing back together. And they thought of everything. The SmartLink system prevents you from pulling the retaining bar all the way out, because they know if they let you do that, you'll lose it. So they're very smart about how they did this. The clasp, actually, I should mention, it has remarkable tolerances. For something that's got so many moving parts built in, it feels incredibly rigid with very little side-to-side movement, but a short link souplesse that makes it silky and comfortable on the wrist. Taking a look at the clasp, it is a rather thick gauge steel double fold with twin trigger release, and it closes in sequential fashion, or as you can see, not quite sequential, but either side can go down first. One side has the Cartier monogram. That's what I meant to communicate there. The twin trigger release ensures that it cannot fly open if you violently jerk your wrist or if some sudden motion should disrupt the watch. So this is a sports watch in that sense. Now jumping back to the case, it's more resilient than you think, being 100 meters water resistant, and then inside 1200 Gauss anti-magnetic. 1000 Gauss is 1000. This is actually 1200. So a remarkable level of anti-magnetic bracing for a watch that is, at face value, not really an engineer's style. The movement is the 1847 MC, which is a drop-in replacement for the ETA 2892A2, but it's the equivalent of a high-grade 2892A2, and it's a very efficient and thin and durable tractor caliber, and most importantly, like everything else in this watch from a fully integrated manufacturer, it is made by Cartier in its own facilities. So the movement is automatic winding with a 42-hour power reserve, hacking seconds, and a quick set date, 23 joules, 8 beats per second, or a 4 hertz beat rate. A quick loom shot allows you to admire the broadsword style hands, which are well loomed. And then the dial features a sunburst metallic green gradient from relatively light green at center, let's call it forest green, to almost black at the edge. All of the numerals you can see are polished metallic, radially arrayed, stylized Roman numerals. We've got a watchmaker's 4, and though you may search, there is no obvious Cartier secret signature here. The timepiece is beautiful, and it features this lovely screw-style bezel. If you're wondering what sets this apart from previous Santos models, a big change for the 2018 model year was this little waterfall that was added to the top and the bottom, which really helps to blend it into the flow of the lugs and the bracelet. It's a big aesthetic upgrade over what came before. And then you can see we have this railroad-style track inboard for reading hours, minutes, and seconds. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability details.